Yeah, and
for anybody.
It's putting you behind right away, and part of the reason you're behind right away is because you haven't been able to establish a running game and maintain control, and all of a sudden if you are running, now we're in second or third and 10 or 8, and it's just not a good position to be in.
Tim's been so negative all podcasts. I'm going to make him talk about something positive next. I'm just going to force him to. I do want you to know that if you ever need phone, tablet repair, accessories, cool gifts, watches, anything like that, watch repair, check out fixologyrepair.com, third floor of the Mall of America by Nordstrom's, downtown in the Skyway, just south of the Wells Fargo Center.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at Mall of America. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
All right, the positive is they are producing a lot of passing yards, and Cousins, Thielen, and Diggs have become as dynamic as anybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's really been good when they've been able to connect on those. Thielen has more catches in September, 39 catches in September, than any receiver ever in franchise history in any month, which is kind of amazing to me. It just, because of all the other things that have happened, that part gets overlooked. Thielen and Diggs together. This is the second game this season that they've each had 100 yards receiving. The last duo to accomplish that, Chris Carter and Randy Moss in 2000. Kirk Cousins putting up a lot of yards. Already has 2 400-yard games this season. That ties the franchise record of any quarterback for a season long. Dante Culpepper did it in 2004 and Warren Moon in 1994. So, I mean, they are off to a great start in the passing game. But, it's too much. They need some balance, and they haven't got it. If you want to look at it, almost from the negative standpoint of it, Cousins has the most pass attempts, 189, the most completions, 131, and the most yards, 1,387 in franchise history for any September. So they're not getting off to a good start with a balanced attack. Fortunately, to a certain degree, for one win and one tie, they've been able to get away with it because Cousins has been good enough to deal with the lack of a running game, or in some cases, a lack of a defense, which, I mean, frankly, when he came here, I think he was expecting a much better defense, so he didn't have to be a 4,000-yard passer again. And, in fact, now he's on pace to be a 5,000-yard passer because that's what they've needed.
Good Lord. I was thinking that he would throw for fewer yards in this system on this team, and it's turning out he's having to bail them out and he's going to throw over 8,000 yards.
And it has to change, and I think Zimmer knows that. As much as I want to talk about getting behind in games, they have to realize that part of the reason is because they haven't been able to run the ball. And somehow, some way, they've got to figure that out, and that'll help Cousins with the time that he has, because play action should be more effective. I mean, one of the stats that I was interested by is, everybody that remembers the Adrian Peterson era, and especially the first 5 years of it, all we heard about is how many guys in the box he has, right? How many times have Sid asked Adrian Peterson, are you still seeing 8 guys in the box?
Oh, did you have 42 guys in the box this week?
So, Dalvin Cook has seen about the lowest percentage of any running back of 8 guys in the box. I think he's like number 5 or 6 for lowest percentage, where, a guy like Alex Collins in Baltimore was somewhere around 55% of the time that he was carrying, he was seeing 8 guys in the box. Cook was under 10% of the time. I think it was like 8%. So it's not that people are stacking it up. It's that the Vikings aren't being able to block it up.
Well, you also hit on a philosophical thing that drives me crazy because, there are all these TV shows and videos now where people can pretend they're coaches, and run the plays back and say, this is the way. And it's all very educational as long as you understand that it's not the whole story. Adrian Peterson rushed for 2,000 yards against 10-man lines. And Tom Brady throws for 6,000 yards a year against extra defensive backs. It's not that an offense should go to the line and say, oh, my God, they're playing this defense. We have to change everything we're good at and just do the opposite to fool the defense. Good teams do what they do well, even when the defense is ready for it.
Yeah, and part of that is just creative offensive play calling, offensive scheme.
And not being afraid to go away from your star players, too.
Right, and trusting that you have an identity, and this is what we're going to do, and it doesn't matter what you do to try to stop us. We're going to do this quite a bit during this game. And, right now, that unfortunately, in a way, has been the signature for the passing offense. And it should be more of a balanced attack. It should be, hey, even if we're not going to run the ball with Dalvin Cook, we've got the threat of the play action. And now all of a sudden we've sucked people up, and you get a lot more yards after the catch when Thielen and Diggs are there because – they make one guy miss. There aren't a lot of others to stop them. And I mean, they have had a ton of explosive plays in the passing game. Unfortunately, they have one run over 10 yards through 4 games. Dalvin Cook had a 15-yard run against San Francisco.
And he fumbled at the end of it.
Yeah. And so there's nothing there to show for an explosive running game. Eventually, they got to get there. And I don't know how they do it at this point because you're not going to go out. I mean, first of all, you don't have the salary cap room to spend money on a free agent player of any type, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to really make any significant trades either. So all of it kind of adds up to it's just got to be more balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to the trip to Philadelphia, and I'm taking volunteers. Anybody want to be my bodyguard as we head into the stadium and go out of the stadium? But we do want to thank our friend Tony Hoagland, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent. He works out of Champlin, but he's very easy to work with no matter where you are. That's how I do it. App, phones, emails, they're very responsive. Hoaglund. I'm not a good speller.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoagland. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number 1 in car insurance since World War II and number 1 in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
All right, we're going back to Philadelphia, scene of another disastrous NFC Championship game loss, scene where Viking fans were pelted with bottles and debris. Nastiest place I've ever seen a game played. I actually think the Eagles organization in general is pretty classy. I loved covering them when they were here for the Super Bowl in January and February. I love the outspokenness of people like Jenkins and Chris Long. I enjoyed covering their team. But man, the fans who made it as miserable as they could on anybody who was wearing purple, I'm not looking forward to seeing those people again.
Well, to me, the thing that stood out was it wasn't just a few people here that were bad eggs.
It was gangs of people.
Yes, and it was sort of a mob mentality, and even those that maybe weren't involved in that seemed to revel in it, which just it confounds me. The behavior and the acceptability of it in Philadelphia. To me, I get the feeling that the cops are somewhat complicit in the whole thing too, because they don't do
anything.
They don't do anything until it's too late or a horse is getting punched. I mean, from your perspective, you've been out to like the Black Hole and all that. What's worse and if you can take it from more of a broader perspective of beyond just the NFC Championship game, but the number of games that you've covered in Philadelphia, like, is it consistent or is this more of a recent thing in Philadelphia?
Well, I've covered a number of games in Philadelphia, including when I covered the Dallas Cowboys in 1989. And listen, it was Jimmy Johnson's first year, and Buddy Ryan and Jimmy Johnson had a feud going on that year. Jimmy got pelted with snowballs as he was leaving the field.
Okay.
And that's one of those that's a little gray area in there. You throw a soft snowball at somebody and miss, it's kind of funny. You throw a hard snowball at somebody and hit him in the head, you could kill him. So, he didn't get hurt or anything, but it was that kind of atmosphere. I know people who used to work for the Philadelphia Eagles. It was the first stadium ever, the old Veterans Stadium, to put in its own jail.
Yep.
And I've told you the Santa Claus story before, right?
Well, I know Santa Claus got hit by the snowball.
Okay, I'll give you. Here's the quick one. A friend of mine used to work in PR for the Eagles, right? And it's Christmas Eve. Eagles have a big game in Veterans Stadium on Christmas Eve. My buddy has to make a trip down to the basement to pick something up, right? As he's down there, he walks by the jail. And he's walking by the jail. He hears a sergeant, police sergeant, go, "Yep, put Santa in number 3." And my buddy stops and he turns back. And he goes, "Whoa! I work in PR for the Philadelphia Eagles. We can't have the Philadelphia Daily News headline be Eagles jail Santa." And so I'll keep the story shorter than it actually is. They go back and forth, and finally my friend goes, "Okay, listen, what did he do that's so bad?" And the cop told him what Santa did, and my buddy goes, "Yeah, put Santa in jail cell number 3."
That's crazy. This is the one that I like. So Philadelphia just went to Tennessee, played there. So one of the flight attendants, bringing 175 Eagles fans down to Nashville, says that they ran out of booze, and she had to listen to at least 35 "Fly Eagle Fly" chants on this plane. Now, I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal, except they've got the reputation already as drinking way too much and getting way too rowdy. Thankfully, I don't think things ever got violent or threatening or anything like that on the plane, but it's just the whole raucous atmosphere and how much they're taking in about it it's confusing to me. I'm surprised that a whole fan base is just like super proud of this mentality.
Yeah, and we all know that it's not the entire fan base. I have friends who are Eagles fans, and they're classy people. And we all know where the line is. It's such a simple thing. People defending it by saying, "Oh, it's not everybody," or "It's just small." You know what? If we're in a room with 10 people and only one of us is a mass murderer, there are too many mass murderers in the room, okay? Here's the problem. You can't cross the line from being verbally belligerent or being verbally rude or verbally outspoken. You can't cross over into physical violence. It's that simple.
Or even threats, where people feel like they are so unsafe.
You don't threaten people physically. You don't hurt people. You don't throw hard objects at people. You don't. And we also know all the stories that, like, there was a family section, the Vikings family section at the Eagles championship game, where people were walking up to the women, pouring beers over their heads, and then, of course, those people would leave, and if Viking people replace them, they do the same thing. I mean, that's wrong. That's not funny. It's not spirited. It's wrong.
And it wastes beer.
I mean, it's a really stupid move on top of it. But listen, I don't get that offended that easily by anything in sports. Right. Everybody kind of knows the deal. But when you cross over to violence, that's wrong, and it should be stopped, and it should be the Philadelphia Police Department that stops it.
Well, and I had a friend of mine, when we were talking about this, going, "Oh yeah," and I can't imagine what Lambeau's like. And I go, "Wait, no, it's not. It's not even close." I mean, people are having you in, the Packers fans will invite Vikings fans over to their tailgate, have beers, cook them up some brats. Yeah, they're going to sit there and talk crap to each other a bunch. But in the end, there's never any threats. There's not, violence. Yes, there's probably isolated incidents like there are in every stadium, every tailgate situation. But, I mean, just how widespread it is with Philadelphia is frankly, it's disgusting.
And I've been to Oakland. I've walked around the people, and that felt more like professional wrestling. It's, hey, I'm going to dress up like a really tough person, but I'm not actually going to do anything to you. Yeah. They want to look intimidating, but and again, you can always find the isolated incidents. I'm talking about atmosphere. They weren't trying to beat people up as they walked by.
Yep.
I've been to tailgates in Baltimore because I have family out there. Been to Washington, D.C. Tailgates. Never seen any problems there. I've been to Tampa and Miami, never seen any problems there. I've been to the Cowboys. It's more of a wine and cheese crowd because of the prices of the tickets down there. I've been to San Francisco, haven't seen problems there. It just doesn't happen. It's not as bad. It's not as bad or as frequent anywhere else as it is in Philadelphia.